years, the Pixel A series has skirted a fine line between the mainline lineup and the budget crowd. This year, the 7A makes strides and a case for just about everyone out there to own one. This is our full review of the Google Pixel 7a. So in the past, to choose an A series Pixel phone would be to accept compromises. To save money, you'd get a much lesser phone that has mid-range specs, features a lower quality build, and is overall lacking in some common features associated with the flagship Pixel lineups. Despite those downfalls, phones like the Pixel 3a, the Pixel 5, 4a, and even the Pixel 5a have managed to make strong cases for themselves solely on the back of Google's Camera Pro S and Pixel exclusive software. Each year, Google has moved the needle on its mid-range Pixel phones, particularly with last year's Pixel 6a, which was the first to use a Tensor chip. The cheap plastic construction was swapped for a durable, near premium build, which was once a mid-range spec sheet, was now a performance package rivaling its own flagship brethren. But even in this excellent Pixel 6a had a few compromises of its own. For instance, it lacked Qi wireless charging, a feature that has become table stakes for a lot of Android smartphones across the board. The display was also still locked at 60Hz, while we had rivals like Samsung's affordable A series offering refresh rates of 90 and 120Hz respectively. Worse, while the Pixel 6 series represented a major leap in photo quality with that new 50 megapixel sensor, the Pixel 6a packed in the same camera sensor that has been used since the Pixel 3 and the 3a way back in 2018. This year though, things are different. The Pixel 7a makes almost no compromises across the board, delivering everything that makes Google phones great at a price that won't break the bank. Fresh out of the box, the Pixel 7a makes just as sharp of a first impression as its flagship sibling. Google's now signature camera bar design has returned, and it doesn't stick out here though as far as it does on some other recent Pixel phones. The aluminium alloy frame and glass exterior are available in 4 colorways for the first time on a Pixel handset as well, of which our team was able to test 2, Sea and clearly white. The bluer shade is far more subtle than its name may suggest, to the point of being off-white. It's the tint of aluminium or the aluminium frame that pulls the colour scheme together here. The coloration also continues to the USB-C port, a detail that often is overlooked, especially on cheaper devices. Or at least in the hand, the first thing you'll notice about the Pixel 7a is its heft, only weighing around half an ounce less than the Pixel 7 Pro at 193 grams. This phone does feel substantial to hold, however it's denser than its siblings, which might be a deal breaker for some of you out there. One minor point of contention with the Pixel 7a's physical design though has to do with the slight lip around the edges of the display where the glass meets that outer metal frame. For whatever reason, the lip feels a bit more prominent and angular here than it does on the Pixel 6a or 7. If you keep this phone in a case, this is going to be an absolute non-issue, but these edges can be quite noticeable and they're unpleasant to touch when uncased. Wireless charging also makes an appearance on this model for the first time, and this is the first time the feature has appeared on a mid-range Pixel phone to date. Admittedly, Qi charging on the Pixel 7a tops out at 7.5 watts, which is nothing to write home about in terms of speed, but if you're the type of person to toss your phone on a wireless charger like the Pixel Stand overnight, then charging speed isn't really going to be a concern for you anyway, but it is a nice to have feature packed in here too. On that note, the 4,385 mAh battery has been more than enough to get through an entire day of our typical usage scenarios. Think things like WhatsApp, Slack, Chrome, some podcasting, maybe some music applications, and Uber now and again, and you're getting a good idea of what we use our phones for here on the 9 to 5 Google team. You will probably get even better battery life than that, at least at first, as Google has set the display to 60Hz right out of the box by default. However, in another first for affordable Pixels, the Pixel 7a can be set to have that 90Hz refresh rate, which helps make supported applications and all areas of the OS and generally Android itself feel silky smooth. Speaking of the screen, the Pixel 7a's 6.1-inch 1080p display has a surprisingly decent viewing angle, or lots of viewing angles, and rich colours to boot. All content does look superb as it does on many of the Pixel lineup, but the screen itself could be a little brighter, although it isn't exactly dim by our own metrics. Beneath the glass, there's an under-display fingerprint sensor, which has been more or less fine. I had to re-register one of my thumbs to unlock the phone with it consistently, especially having used a screen protector, but it is easy to be shocked at how Google was able to pack in so many nice to have features here into this 7a while maintaining its asking price of under $500. Nothing in the build itself feels like it's obviously lacking in comparison to the rest of the phone. The software, of course, that arrives on the 7A is a very straightforward edition of Android 13. Google has been striving to make Android far more personal as of late, and customizability is at the core of this. With the help of Material You, your Pixel 7a can retheme itself, and it will get even better with Android 14 when that does arrive, and this should be eligible for the betas in the coming weeks. The update schedule, though, is still unchanged from the Pixel 7 series, meaning OS updates to Android 13 for a total of 3, and then 5 years of patches thrown in for good measure. Meanwhile, on the security front, while we're talking that, the Pixel 7a is the first Google affordable phone to feature Face Unlock, and it's software-based, but it feels just as snappy as it does on the Pixel 7 and the 7 Pro. Of course, as I mentioned, this is backed up by that traditional fingerprint and pin unlock options, which makes for a good software stack or security stack if you want to use multiple options at any point in time. What is surprising though is that Google is also including the free access to its VPN service with the Pixel 7a. This privacy protecting feature or service typically requires a Google One paid subscription, but the company offers this for free for owners of the Pixel 7 series. It's exciting to see this perk returning even at this more affordable price point, and it's definitely something you should enable right out of the box too. By far though, the biggest improvement of the Pixel 7a save the screen over generations past is the upgraded camera sensor. Technically, the Pixel 7a features a camera with the highest megapixel count to be featured in a phone from Google today, beating out the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro with its 64 megapixel Sony sensor. Of course, that raw pixel count doesn't really mean all that much in the real world. For one, Google bins these photos down to 16 megapixels to enable better detail. For important spec for quality and detail though is sensor size, with the Pixel 7 and 7a being evenly matched with 1 over 1.3 inch sensors. In practice though, this new sensor paired with the excellent as ever Google camera enhancements and lightning fast Tensor G2 can take exceptional photos with minimal processing time. That primary camera is also paired with a 13 megapixel ultra wide with a 120 degree field of view, which is perfect for capturing the whole scene in tight areas. You won't find a telephoto lens on the 7a as it was touted way ahead of launch, which is a shame as it's more than likely that you will use a telephoto over an ultrawide, or at least in our opinion. Google though does bake in super res zoom and the enhancements to this, which does make up for it a little bit, but it's always nicer to have a better lens than a recreation in software. But after all, at 2x, this is a lot better than its predecessor. There's much to be said about the Pixel 7a's camera quality, but we'll let you be the judge. Here are some example shots taken over the past few days, and we have to say images are crisp with that signature contrasted pixel look, plus the benefit of over sharpening at least has been resolved with the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro, which they did suffer from, so it's not necessarily problematic here. This is a very minor step down from the Pixel 7, but I have to say you'd likely wouldn't be able to tell. The only missing from the camera software stack is that cinematic unblur video feature which adds fake bokeh effects to 1080p footage. Sadly, it's an omission, but everything else is present and correct, including features like photo unblur and much more on top of that. So you're probably wondering, should you buy the new Pixel 7a? Well, when buying a new phone, there is a certain level of appeal to buying flagship models. Many of us want to have the latest, fastest phone with the best set of features possible. This can even make sense from a frugal or cost-cutting or cost-saving perspective. Between build quality, performance and update schedule, a flagship phone is built to last for multiple years. By comparison, some mid-rangers begin to show their age far earlier, leading to customers upgrading a lot sooner and not necessarily being cost-effective. The Pixel 7a is all the phone you do need though right now, and it should last long into the future too. It has a premium design, near flagship level specifications, an exceptional camera baked in there too, and it all adds up to a real world value more than the $499 asking price. In the time that we've been using and testing the Pixel 7a, it has to be said that we haven't once missed the Pixel 7 or 7 Pro, and we think that's saying something. Is it worth a look? You bet. That's the Pixel 7a, another incredible addition to the Pixel A series, which is usually where we would suggest most buyers should look when they want a phone, and that actually shifts further this way towards this device with the 7a's released. What do you think? Let us know what you think of the 7a down in the comment sections below, and until next time, this is Damien with 9to5 Google saying thanks for watching, and I will speak to you later.